In today's video, we're going to show you how to have the perfect day in Seattle, Washington, one of our favorite cities. This itinerary focuses on exploring the city without a car and seeing some of the top tourist attractions from the Space Needle to Pike Place Market, with lots of coffee and hidden gems in between. Let's jump into it and let us know what your favorite spot in Seattle is in the comments.
We took the train up from Southern California, which was a crazy experience. Got in at 5 a.m. You can see that up here. Today, though, we're going to spend the perfect day in Seattle, starting with
Pike Place Market.
Pike Place Market opened in 1907 and is one of the oldest continuously operated public farmers markets in the United States. It's built on the edge of a small hill with great waterfront views, and we're going to head downstairs first before exploring the market.
First stop, Gum Wall. Looks like we need to get some bubble gum.
The Gum Wall in Seattle is a polarizing tourist attraction that's been here since the 1990s. There's probably hundreds of thousands of pieces of gum here, and they actually did clean it once in 2015, but almost immediately it started getting gum back. If you're interested in adding to the wall, go to Ghost Alley Espresso, which is right next to it and sells pieces of gum. Plus, it has fantastic coffee as well.
I don't think I've ever had gum, especially bubble gum, before my coffee in the morning.
I'm going to try to do this without touching anything.
After adding our gum, we grabbed our coffee and headed up the stairs to explore a more exciting part of Pike Place Market. Heading back into the market, the first stop for most tourists is at Pike Place Fish Market. Made popular from shows like MTV's The Real World, this place has been throwing fish for decades. It's a fun highlight when people order to hear them calling out the fish and then throwing them back and forth, and it always generates a lot of buzz. There's even a sign at the store that says "Caution, low-flying fish."
It's funny how fast they clear out as soon as they throw the fish. There was about 100 people sitting around waiting to watch that.
The rest of the market is a collection of awesome neon signs, flower shops, seafood shops, and everything in between.
Sunday is a really busy day here, but it brings a lot of fun energy.
It's pretty surprising how big the market is, and there's a lot of stalls that you can walk around and see. Do note that many of them are a little bit more expensive than you'd anticipate, but it's worth it to have such a fun experience in the city.
Be sure to come out on the viewing platform behind Pikes before you leave. You can get some amazing views, and we can even see Rainier today.
A few more places that I love here are Beecher's Handmade Cheese, Rachel's Ginger Beer, and of course Piroshki, which was featured on No Reservations with Anthony Bourdain and has amazing baked goods. Oh, and of course there's the first location for one of those lesser known coffee shops.
This is the original Starbucks, but as you can see, there's probably 100 people in line or so, and it does not move very fast. If it's something you want to do, you should do it while you're here, but be prepared to wait. There's a long line to get Starbucks coffee when you're in a city with so many amazing coffee places. Saying goodbye to Pikes, and we are heading to Brunch.
For brunch, we walked about 10 minutes over to a spot called Lola, which has been here for over 20 years.
I'm already in on this restaurant because they left us water and they left us a pot of coffee, and we could just serve ourselves as much as we'd like.
It's actually very efficient. That's how all restaurants should be.
I've never seen this before. Octopus charred and in a hash. That looks very, very good.
This is a Greek restaurant with a North American twist, and Amy ordered the octopus hash, and then I ordered something that I believe was called the shakshuka, which is like ground up sweet peppers, baked eggs, tomatoes, cilantro, and feta, and then it's served with toast. Both of the dishes were unlike anything I had had before.
That was a fantastic spot for lunch. Be sure to get a reservation though, as it was incredibly busy. Amy loved her octopus.
I just really want to eat it over and over again. It was delicious.
We're gonna take you to my favorite donut spot in the city though, in case you want something different before we keep exploring. Also, we're heading to the Space Needle after that, and you can take the monorail if you want from Westlake, or you can walk from where we were at. It's about 3/4 of a mile.
Due to the fact that we were eating donuts after already having brunch, we decided we should walk, and we headed to Pot Doughnuts. Pot is a Seattle institution that's been making donuts since 2002 and which has dozens of locations around the Pacific Northwest now. This place is famous for all the different types of old fashions they had. So Amy got a pumpkin glaze old fashioned, I got a maple old fashioned, and they have these things called pot holes, which are like donut holes, and you can try lots of different flavors. Neither one of us are really hungry, but you know, I gotta do it for the video.
Take one for the team.
Old-fashioned donuts are my favorite kind. That's probably why I like this spot so much. Maple though. What's not to like?
From Top Pot, it was about a 15-minute walk to the base of the Space Needle, where we had joint tickets that allowed us to go to the top of the Space Needle and also to Chihuly Garden and Glass. We headed to Chihuly first.
Amy's never been to either one of these spots.
Haven't. All the times I've been to Seattle, this will be a first.
Dale Chihuly has been a pioneer in the art of glass blowing for over 50 years. His work can be seen all over the world, but to be able to see so much of it in one place is truly impressive.
It's so incredible to see how they got the movement of these eels with the glass.
Dale Chihuly was born in Tacoma, Washington, which is why this area is important to him, and the museum was opened in 2012. There's so many highlights in this museum, but going into the walkway with all of his pieces reflected in the light and then entering into the main exhibition hall with the massive piece is probably my favorite part. This piece is probably 100 or so feet long, and it's so intricate that you could look at it for hours and see new things.
It's not often that art makes me speechless, but this, I don't have much to say. It's just so beautiful. I love it.
Of course, there's plenty more pieces to see in the interior, but for us, we headed out to the glass house to see one of the iconic installations. This piece is over 100 feet long, and it's one of the largest suspended pieces he's ever created.
You guys, look at how cool this greenhouse is, and you can see the Space Needle right up through it.
The last area to see before leaving is the gardens themselves. Here you'll see how he perfectly incorporated his pieces into nature, and you can get some more great views of the Space Needle and the glass house. I've been here many times, but I always love going back to see it again, and it was cool to be able to introduce it to Amy as well.
This is easily one of the coolest museums I've ever been to. The glass blowing here is insane. You have to do it when you're in Seattle. We're now heading to the Space Needle. 2 tips for you. First, if it's a Sunday like when we're here, be sure to buy your tickets online as it's super busy and you have to wait an hour or two before you can get a ticket. And second, if you want to see both of those places, you can actually get a ticket which discounts that, so you can see both of them for a little bit cheaper. Heading up the Space Needle.
Unfortunately for us, it was a busy Sunday at the end of summer, and even though we purchased our tickets in advance, we still had to wait about an hour just to get to the elevator to head up to the top. Luckily, along the way, there's lots of interesting history and pictures you can see about the creation of the Space Needle and about the World's Fair that it was created for. I really enjoyed this, but obviously I would have liked to have moved quicker through it so I could get to the top faster.
An hour and 10 minutes later, we are almost to the elevator.
After finally making it to the elevator, we took the 30-second ride to the top, which goes up about 500 feet into the structure that was built in 1961.
We made it to the top. Was it worth it?
It was a really long wait, but I do like this view.
When you get to the top of the Space Needle, there are 2 floors, the first of which is open air with big windows that allow you to see out.
Shout out to the people who work at the Space Needle, because this is the cleanest I've ever seen observation windows, and it makes it great for pictures.
We actually got a really great day when we were at the Space Needle, and you could see all the way to Mount Rainier out in the distance. It's such an iconic view to see the Seattle skyline with Mount Rainier, and it's not something that I see very often on my visits to Seattle, so I'm always excited whenever the mountain's out. When you finish the observation deck, you're going to want to head down 1 story to get to one of the world's only revolving glass floors.
There's the glass museum that we were just at. Pretty cool to see that from up here.
You probably don't want to do this if you're afraid of heights, but it's a slow rotation that takes about 45 minutes to make a full circle.
This is the coolest building right here. It has spiders painted on the roof when you're looking down at it. So my favorite view of the Space Needle is from Kerry Park, which is right here, I believe. And you can see that video up here if you want to learn more about taking pictures there.
Let's say this is really cool. I feel like it's be very touristy, but it's an amazing view. So do it at least once.
You're not afraid of being on the...
No, not at all. Not like Pops probably would be.
There's also a bar up here where you can just sit and get a drink and look out over downtown Seattle, but for us, we decided to get in line to take the elevator back down. A special shout out to the elevator operator who followed my channel. It was really cool to chat.
We figured since we are already here, we might as well see the M-Pop Museum. I haven't been here in about a decade, so I'm excited to see what it's like now. Here's Chris Cornell's statue right out front. Amy, tell me who Chris Cornell is. What does he sing?
Hold on, I'm reading the plaque right now. I don't know.
Formerly known as EMP or the Experience Music Project, this place was founded by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen in 2000. This museum is a 140,000 square foot love letter to pop culture, and it was designed by famed architect Frank Gehry. There are many different exhibits focused on everything from TV and cinema to music and video games. If you love rock music, you definitely don't want to miss the exhibit they have on Nirvana.
If you grew up on Nirvana like I did, that's a fascinating exhibit. And this museum also has this amazing guitar column.
It looks like a guitar tornado.
Not a column?
I would say no, it's more of a tornado. What do you guys think?
It's hard to even describe how many artifacts they have from some of your favorite movies and TV shows over the years.
It's a Dalek, the single most terrifying villain in all of...
So scary. I thought you'd be my favorite.
Amy and I used to watch a decent amount of Doctor Who. This Death Star is incredible. This museum totally doesn't appeal to everyone, but if you're like me and you like this type of pop culture and Nirvana, things like that, it's definitely worth going to. It's a little late in the day, but anytime we're in Seattle, we go to Café Vita, and so we're gonna sacrifice sleep for it.
Much coffee as I can drink here.
Vita at KEXP is only about a 10-minute walk, and it's one of my favorite coffee shops in the city. It's actually where the radio station is located, and it feels like a large industrial building with lots of different tables, and definitely a place I would always be if I lived here.
So cool, you can have your drink while you're listening to them record on the radio right in there.
It's delicious. It's like just a little hint of sweetness and pumpkin. Nothing like the normal pumpkin drinks. Perfect.
That's one of the coolest coffee shops. The coffee there is incredible, but they're recording live at the radio station. There's vinyl you can look through. I could have spent a couple hours there.
We had a half mile to walk, and since we had done a lot of walking already, we decided to hop on some scooters and make it there quickly.
After taking our Lime scooters a half mile around the city, we are now at the Sculpture Park. Also, can we talk about how fun it is to ride those scooters, but also how expensive it is? It's like $6 each to go a half mile. I mean, we could have combined that and taken an Uber for cheaper probably, but it is a fun way to explore the city.
Way more fun than Uber though.
Yeah.
Olympic Sculpture Park is 9 acres in downtown Seattle that consists of about a dozen or so sculptures with amazing views looking out over the water. The central piece is called Eagle by the artist Alexander Calder, and it was brought here in 2000 and is surrounded by chairs and has some of the best views in the park. If you've never been here, just take about 45 minutes, walk along the trail, and be surprised by the different sculptures.
These are the coolest ones. There's the eye chairs right there, and then there's the big face looking out.
If you're looking for more activity, this is also a great jumping off point for a walk or a bike along the Elliott Bay Trail, which goes along the waterfront.
We've been to Seattle so many times when it's raining, but this has been the perfect day here.
We were a little tired of walking, so we grabbed an Uber and we headed over to our dinner spot, Vaughn's 1,000 Spirits. This love spot right in downtown Seattle has been here for over a decade and has the city's largest collection of spirits with over 1,500. It's incredibly popular and they don't take reservations, so just get there and be prepared to wait or grab a spot at the bar. We were lucky enough to be able to find a spot at the bar, and we quickly ordered cocktails and some of their famous pasta and pizza. I recommend you try both those as well, as they specialize in sourdough pizza and pasta here, and it was a huge highlight for our day of exploring. And this is coming from someone who never orders pasta at a restaurant.
That is incredible.
Both the pasta and pizza there were epic. The sourdough that they use for that is just, it's so good. I will say though, the drinks were kind of a miss for Amy and I, but definitely go there and eat.
I 100% agree. Delicious.
We got 2 more stops before ending this perfect day in downtown Seattle.
Since we were so close to the water, we decided to head down to Pier 57, also known as Miners Landing, and explore a little bit. This is definitely a touristy area with shops and a couple different restaurants, but it's also home to Seattle's Great Wheel.
We are about to ride the Ferris wheel.
We've been to Seattle so many times and never done this, so we figured that we should try it, especially at sunset.
It's good that I brought someone who would do it, since Pops would definitely not get in this spot with me.
Yeah, I don't know if he would fit. Might be a little bit nervous about it.
The Great Wheel has been a part of the Seattle skyline since it opened in 2012. It sits at over 175 feet tall, and it takes about 15 minutes to do the 3 revolutions.
We reached the very top, and we were coming down the other side. Plus, we timed this perfectly. Look at that sunset. What do you think? We did our first revolution. Worth it?
I think it's worth it. It's a really great view and it's fun.
What's nice about it is that they take about 10 minutes to load everybody up, and then they just give you 3 full revolutions without stopping. Then it takes another 10 minutes or so to load everybody back out again, so it takes about 30 minutes total from when you get in to when you get off. We finished watching the sunset, and then we had one more thing to do before ending the day.
Our last stop of the night is a cool tiki bar called Inside Passage.
If you've been watching our videos for a while, then you know Amy and I love a good cocktail bar. Our favorite bar in the city is probably Cannon, but Inside Passage came highly recommended, and we've been on a tiki bar vibe for like the last 6 months. Plus, you know we can't pass up a fun photographic experience, and the drinks here are not only good, but they're also presented in a very unique way.
I like a good gimmick. I'll take all my money for that. That is the coolest cup I've ever drank from.
Not to be outdone, my drink also came out with a fire and was fantastic as well. Then Amy decided that she had to try a third drink since we were already here. If you want to visit this spot, be sure to get reservations as it fills up quickly on the weekends, and be sure to say hi to Kiki, the Kraken that sits above the bar.
That is tart.
And with that, our perfect day in downtown Seattle is done. Hopefully you enjoyed exploring with us. We will see you on the next one.